Let me just sort my video out. Here we go. Really, really good to be back. Thank you all for joining. I think these Ask Me Anythings are proving to be very useful, not just for you, but for me as well. Having to go through my analysis and my thought process is really, really helpful for me, continues to drive me forward and continues to help me with my studies, my theories. So thank you. I really, really appreciate all of the engagement and support that I've been getting. Please put your questions in the comments. If you're on Zoom, you can also raise your virtual hand. And I do have a few questions that I know I need to cover first. So you have a chance to put your questions in the comments whilst I'm digging them out. How do I want to do this? Yeah, let's do it like this. Sorry, I should have had this prepared, but coming up very shortly. Welcome everybody, really happy to be here. Right, so a few that have come in today that I know I need to get covered. Starting with Jake. And Jake was asking, for Bitcoin to get to a prediction of $296,000, it would have to almost 6x from here. That's correct. But does that mean the market cap has to 6x? Yes, that's correct. Do we need to see another 5 trillion invested? Or can the market cap increase quicker than can the price increase quicker than the market cap? It can increase quicker. Well, no, it has to increase at the same time, but it doesn't mean that 5 trillion has to be invested, because it's all about buyers and sellers and at what price they want to transact. If literally nobody sold now, and the first seller says that they would need to accept $296,000 per Bitcoin, then the price would go to $296,000. Obviously, that's not going to happen. It doesn't quite work like that. But we don't need the full amount of the market cap invested. I haven't done the analysis to know what that ratio looks like, but just know it's all about supply and demand. That if the price starts going up rapidly, the price can go up on very low volume, right? So that's when literally nobody wants to sell and everyone wants to buy, and the price goes really, really quickly. So it can happen like that. And yes, it does mean that the market cap I expect to go up 6x, absolutely, or more. I will be revisiting those numbers in the near future, but we're definitely tracking ahead of the last cycle at this point, which would mean that my current target of 296,000 is too conservative. Would be great to hear what you think of F2 Pool dumping large exchanges, dumping large sums of Bitcoin onto exchanges. Could they be protecting from a euphoric phase? So what Jake is referring to is a particular mining company, I believe the largest, could correct me if I'm wrong there, who apparently the last dip that we just had a few weeks ago, I guess we're still in it kind of, largely because of they're selling a lot of Bitcoin into the market. And I do believe this is true based on what I've seen. But Jake, I would ask you how important this actually is. Within this bull market, there will be buyers and there will be sellers. And there will be big buyers and there'll be big sellers. And sometimes, we're talking about selling here, sometimes the miners will sell intermittently into the market to fund their operations, and sometimes they'll sell a lot. And we don't actually know what's going on. You know, just like, I guess, if you had an unforeseen expense and you had to sell £1,000 worth of Bitcoin and you didn't expect it, or maybe F2 pool had an unforeseen expense and they had to sell £1 billion of Bitcoin. It's all relative. But if you zoom out and look at the bull market in aggregate, the amount of buying and selling will look the same whether it happens, whether certain clumps happen at one time or whether it's split out. We had what did we have, a 20-something% dip because of it mainly. Obviously it induces other selling, but you can also look at it as, well, that selling is now done. So they sold what they could have sold it intermittently, but they sold it in one go. So what? It's kind of irrelevant. Either way, it's irrelevant. We know which direction we're going. We know this year there's going to be a lot more buying and selling, a lot more demand than supply. And that's what's important. And yes, it can be interesting to look at these data points, but bear in mind that there are an infinite number of data points that you could look at when we're talking about Bitcoin and crypto. Literally, you do on-chain analysis and there is no end to what you can uncover. But how much of it is actually useful? And what is noise versus signal? I'm telling you, this that you're talking about is noise. Because whether they sell a bit or they sell a lot, it doesn't matter at all. And there are some YouTube influencers that focus on this stuff. Cryptos Hours has been tracking this. Very interesting. But just be careful that you're doing it because you're interested and not because you're getting emotionally involved. And that's when it becomes dangerous. What happens if you start tracking this stuff and then you're monitoring this F2 pool Bitcoin wallet and you see in a month's time it starts to tick up again? Are you going to start selling? Definitely not. But you might if you get too caught up in this stuff, and that's when you make mistakes. So if you're interested in on-chain analysis and data, sure, think about it, look into it. If not, be careful. There'll always be something out there to try and scare you. You've seen that we're stabilizing, we're settling above 50,000 and we're heading back up. So for me, it's irrelevant. Right, here is the other question. Why won't it get to the point where governments just ban Bitcoin because it's detrimental on the economy? I don't understand the bit about detrimental on the economy. I mean, there are many things that are happening at the moment that are detrimental to the economy. But lots of investment in innovation, and lots of money moving around, wealth moving around. It seems to be a good thing to me for the economy. So I don't get that bit. Decentralized, untraceable, etc. Yeah, that makes sense. That could be a reason why. That is a reason why governments are not keen on Bitcoin, of course, because they currently control the money supply. Why won't they just ban it down the line to allow for a focus of banks creating their own digital currency? We have covered this quite a few times on previous Ask Me Anythings, but I see it as twofold. Firstly, game theory. If one government bans it, like I believe, Nigeria tried to ban it and the price went up because the people will just trade it anyway on the black market. So A, can you ban it? B, India banned it, then got rid of the legislation, then was looking at it again, now he's getting. And why is that happening? Because people will just go elsewhere. Either they'll use VPNs or they'll move to a different country if they have to. And that plays into the fact that this can't be stopped now. Coinbase are doing that IPO next month. Coinbase are well hooked into Finance 1.0. And governments and senators and all that stuff. There are so many institutions building on Ethereum. You've got some of the wealthiest people in the world buying Bitcoin. they've had their chance and they missed it. So it's gone way too far. It's impossible. What they will do is try and make it as complicated as possible, like they do with everything else, mostly so they can extract tax. So that's what you need to watch out for. Is it sensible to still keep savings in a bank as well as having invested in Bitcoin? Do you keep any savings in fiat? The world's changing quickly. You know, even this week, major announcements of travel companies accepting crypto, not just Bitcoin, many other cryptocurrencies. What happens during the bull market as well is so much investment and innovation in the space, which then carries on through the bear market. So it's not going to be long until you can use your crypto for daily life. Even decentralized finance means that, you know, all of the things that you previously needed a bank for, borrowing, saving, lending, is all going onto a blockchain. So that's happening really, really quickly. Yes, you would probably still struggle to live a completely crypto life right now. Maybe one more year until you can, you know, head down to the post office and do all the things that you need to do on crypto. So I think it's, what I like about the question is that you're starting to think that way. So I think that's really, really important. You know, at what point can you switch from your reserve asset, your reserve currency, which is currently cash, and holding that in Bitcoin and crypto? Although we're probably not there, I mean, we're a lot closer than a year ago. So I think you're starting to think that way is very positive, because that's the way the world is going. And that will help you just to, you know, navigate and figure out how you're making that transition yourself. It may also influence any take profit strategy, of course. Do you want to be selling into fiat when the whole world is moving to crypto? Yeah, probably, based on the 4-year cycle. But is that still going to apply in 2025? Not so sure. And there was, where was my other question? It was on YouTube that I wanted to cover. And then I'll get to the questions in the comments. Sorry about this. I'll answer Joe's, no, sorry, Leo's whilst I'm finding this. Is there any particular reason why Ocean has been pumping? Ocean Protocol. Of course, that is one I've talked about quite a lot. It was sent out to the Crypto Insiders list as well. So well done, me, and well done to everybody that's invested in it. Ocean has definitely been performing really, really well through over the past week when everything else has been a bit flat, which is great. So Ocean released their 2021 roadmap. Just go on their Twitter and check it out. It's really, they've got a great team. They're doing massive things, great innovation. And the other thing is that Travala announced that they are starting to accept Ocean as payment. I can't find this other question. I'll have to come back to it. So Ocean starting to be accepted as payment for holidays, massive news. And it was also added to Kraken, which is one of the biggest exchanges, which always has a big pump. And there are strong rumors that Ocean will be added to Coinbase in the near future as well. And I will revisit my Bitcoin prediction after the next wave, what I mean by that is as we head up to $80,000-$90,000, then I'm expecting a 40% correction. Of course, they are rough targets. It's harder to predict that those short-term movements, but that is my base case. I want to see how that plays out so that I can analyze the data and I can compare it to previous cycles. And once I've done that, I will revisit my targets for the price and the timing of the peak, and I will record a new training module and send it out to everybody that's on the list. So I'm expecting that to happen beginning to mid-April, and then, you know, giving me a couple of weeks to look into it and record the course, probably end of April, roughly, to have a sort of a target 3.0. I had the first one, which was $125,000 a long time ago now. That was sort of this time last year, we were talking about that. And then $296,000, which is what is in the 2021 Bitcoin playbook and the reasons why. And there will be a version 3.0. And I expect that version 3.0 to be, you know, it's always getting refined. And I'm very much looking forward to that. We'll at that point, we'll really have our eyes on the cycle peak. You know, it'll only be 4 months or so away. Is that right? May, June, July, or yeah, 4 to 5 months away. So we can really start getting focused on that at that point. And the other question from Alexander: what is the minimum and maximum you expect the price to reach, and by when? So 296,000 is the base target at the moment. That's in the Bitcoin playbook, how we got to that number. That number still looks pretty good, but what is happening is we are tracking ahead of the last cycle. So you can maybe put that number in as the minimum at the moment. And then the maximum will depend really on the price action over the next couple of months by the end of April. If you look at the cycle repeat graph, which shows from today, if we followed the last cycle exactly from today, what the end price would be by the peak, it's showing about $700,000 at the moment. Why will August be the top of the bull run? How do you calculate this? Alexander, that is all in the course. So definitely go check it out. All my calculations are in there. Step by step, how we got to the targets. And I will put that link in the description. If you're on Instagram, then it's all in the bio. But on Zoom, that's the direct link. Definitely go check it out. And once you've signed up to that as well, that means that when I record the new module, then you'll be on the list and you'll get it straight away. Another 142% increase, and we are at 296K. Those maths don't work out to me. That 442% would be a lot less than 296K. We're at 50,000 now. So it's another 5x from here. Okay, just looking on Instagram. Dano, I have some money in EOS and I'm taking it out. Well, firstly, I think that's probably a really good decision. And need one coin to put into. Which one would you go for and why? So I can't tell you what to invest in. So I'll say some of my favorites for you to go and do your own research on are Polkadot, Chainlink, and my 2 favorites outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum. I assume you're probably in Bitcoin and Ethereum already if you're in EOS. Chainlink and Polkadot. And then we've talked about Ocean already. Watch my videos. I'm always dropping in hints. Join Crypto Insiders list if you want smaller cap cryptos. Link is in the Instagram bio. I'm going to send out 2 videos a week focusing on a particular altcoin. So you might find that interesting. Elliot, Lambo in Bitcoin orange or Ethereum purple? That's a great question. I don't think I'll be getting a Lambo, but I'll drive one of yours. Whoever gets it first, you can take me out for a spin for sure. I would definitely go for the orange. Look, Bitcoin is the daddy. It's the tide that lifts all boats. Ethereum wouldn't be possible without Bitcoin. And even if you see an altcoin pumping, know that deep down it's because of Bitcoin. And that's why Bitcoin should always be your biggest allocation. And Bitcoin always deserves the maximum praise for what is happening. The whole bull run is built around the Bitcoin halving. And we should all be really grateful for that, even if you're in altcoin. Mike, cashing out with Binance when we should be selling, will you be able to cash out all your profits at once? If Binance is working, then yes. You know that exchanges have a tendency to go down at the worst time, so be conscious of that. That's probably why a iterative cash out process will be best. There is some content in the course on that, and I'll be doing more content in summer as we get really close. But you know, for example, today, if you wanted to cash everything out on Binance, yeah, of course, you just sell 100% and it's done. So no problem as long as it's up. And there's loads of liquidity in the market. You know, there's people trading billions. So as long as you can get into your account. Can also be worth having multiple accounts open as another layer of preparation. Can you predict ETH again as well? It's not looking as bullish as others in recent days. Well, I probably would disagree in recent days if we're talking about the past 2 or 3 days. Ethereum is starting to look really bullish. The Ethereum Bitcoin chart looks absolutely fantastic. So Bitcoin, look at Ethereum looks like it's ready to run. As does Chainlink. They're the 2 that people have been getting a bit frustrated with. But yes, it's been lagging over the last, this year really. You know, a lot of that is due to the gas fees and people being just a bit tired of the gas fees, and as well the spotlight on Binance and Cardano. Notice that Cardano and Binance are not moving right now, and in fact, you know, look quite weak. So looks to be some rotation there, profit taking in those and into Ethereum and Chainlink. Feels like what's happening at the moment. I think that's very healthy. Ethereum is, you know, really important to the market. Obviously, the second biggest crypto by a long way. Also, lots of positive news around Ethereum. You know, not really seeing any developers leave Ethereum for these other chains. If they are using other chains, they're going multi-chain, so they're staying on Ethereum as well. A lot of them are introducing layer 2 solutions to help with the fees. Very good. Ethereum are introducing new upgrades in April and July, which will help with the fees. So a lot of positive news Ethereum at the moment, and I'm expecting Ethereum to really start leading over the next month or so. And I will do another prediction for Ethereum once we have our Bitcoin data in place, yeah, I will do that. What are your thoughts on using hardware wallets? Luke, do check out the other Ask Me Anythings, because I tend to get asked this every week and cover it every week. So I don't want to spend too long on it. Just to know that I believe if you use Coinbase or Binance and turn on all of your security features, then you are very safe. If you want to completely reduce your risk, then sure, use a hardware wallet, but I don't think it's absolutely necessary. And Lyle's asking this as well. And and so one of the reasons why I say that as well is because I know a lot of people that follow me are very new. It can be, I know making your first investments in crypto can be a lot to deal with. So to introduce the extra complexity of getting a hardware wallet and setting it up and keeping it can be a bit too much for some people. So I'd say that is optional if you are, very good with technology and you want to completely minimize your risk. But exchanges have come on a lot, particularly Coinbase and Binance. So I don't think it's compulsory. What do you think of Hathor? I don't know it, I'm afraid. I'll look into it. I have seen it around, but I don't know what it does. FOB. Let me know what you think of it, and then I'll give you my opinion. Chris. What are the reasons why Bitcoin would not increase any further from this point, or if it reduced slightly? Although it sounds like that won't be the case. Just wondering why it wouldn't be a given from now. What could stop this bull market in its tracks is basically the question. And I would say, as my mentor Jordan says, there's definitely far more risks to the upside at this point. So what does that mean? I think there's a lot more risk that we go to 400, 500,000 than we stop here. But of course, you always need to be wary of your downside risk as well. So what could happen at this point? We've talked about regulation. I don't think that's anything to be concerned about. And then you start getting into, well, therefore, maybe I know we just talked about it and I don't want to scare anybody, a Coinbase or Binance hack, because they're so big and integral to the market. That could be one. And then secondly, probably a hack to the code, to the Bitcoin code, which of course is, it happened once, like very close to the beginning, and was quickly, it wasn't a hack actually, it was more of a bug, and it was quickly spotted by the core developers and fixed within 10 minutes. So with both of those, bear in mind that the Bitcoin or the crypto maximalists have an implied incentive to protect the community and the network. Everybody's about to get really rich. So, people that are a lot richer than us, right? People who are billions and billions in the market. So there's a lot of incentive there to secure the networks. And that's one of the main reasons why Bitcoin has survived and prospered, is because, of course, what started out as a very small core group has built and built and built. And those hodlers, those maximalists, they're essentially an army that are protecting Bitcoin. And of course, there's that around the crypto community in various forms. So, if there was a threat coming in, it would be spotted really, really quickly. But of course, that risk exists. So that's the only thing I can think of. Certainly no FUD about climate change or China or anything like that. They're the only ones I can think of. Maybe if the government stopped printing money and did the opposite, tightening, which is not going to happen. So if they let everything collapse, which is actually what needs to happen, but people who invest in Bitcoin know that that's not going to happen because they've had a long time to do the right thing and they haven't. The policy is being made very, very clear every day, every action. New money, new quantitative easing. I mean, the amount of money that already exists means that Bitcoin is way undervalued. But sort of if the world central banks came out and said, we are completely, oh, we're going to a gold standard tomorrow, that would change things, right? Because the Bitcoin mission is about a new store of value peer-to-peer payment network because of quantitative easing, infinite amounts of money in the system controlled by central banks because it's fiat currency. So if literally they change the rules of the game, then of course that would impact Bitcoin, but that ain't happening, particularly overnight. What's your opinion on Elrond'S? I don't know. I don't know it. Same as Hathor, I don't know the project, so I wouldn't comment. Again, I've seen it around and I believe it's performed really well. But I generally don't research a crypto just because it's performed really well. I will start researching it if it comes up sort of on my radar or feed about the use case and what it's doing in the world, and then I'll start researching it. Alexander, I believe that's the same question that Chris asked. What will take for Bitcoin to do a U-turn? Yeah, that is. But if you want to ask it a different way or ask a similar question, then let me know. I think I answered it. Felix, are you staking your ETH for additional income? If so, how? Really good question. You can stake your Ethereum on Binance, and I believe it's coming on Coinbase imminently, if not already there, or there are other solutions that allow you to do it. And I don't, and the reason being is that you have to lock it up for 2 years. And to me, that doesn't align with our strategy laid out in the playbook, which is around a 4-year cycle. That would mean holding through the crash. And therefore, I've elected not to do that. But I love Ethereum. Very happy that the staking is happening and that other people are doing it. What would need to happen this month to get us to 80K as predicted? Well, what would need to happen is that the price would need to go up $30,000. Nothing major needs to happen. And like it's similar to what I was saying before, there is already so much money in the system. There are already huge institutions that are buying into Bitcoin. Michael Saylor did his event 4 weeks ago where he was teaching CEOs from around the world how to put Bitcoin on their balance sheet. And that was a 6-week process. So 4 weeks in out of 6. What I mean by that is they're all buying now, right? There was somebody put on Twitter earlier today that $2.5 billion worth of Bitcoin left Coinbase yesterday. So when big amounts of Bitcoin leave an exchange, that means a whale, a huge institution, has just bought it and then is taking it off into cold storage. So they are using hardware wallets. Of course, probably not one of the ones that you buy on Amazon, but if they buy $2.5 billion of Bitcoin. Yes, they're taking it off the exchange. So we can see that data. So somebody went in, bought $2.5 billion of Bitcoin and took it off the exchange. Who's that going to be? Big rumors about Oracle being one of the next ones, because Larry Ellison is very close with Elon Musk and they're being talked about on Twitter. Twitter, because Jack Dorsey is a big Bitcoin proponent, and Twitter just raised $1.5 billion in debt, like MicroStrategy raised $1 billion in debt to buy Bitcoin. So it looks like Twitter are probably going to announce a massive purchase soon. 2.5 billion if that's all one company. Could be Oracle. Maybe pick out any of the others. Apple, Facebook, Amazon. You know, if Apple are going to start using it for Apple Pay, which you would expect, then they'll need a big reserve. If Amazon will start accepting, then they're going to need a big reserve. So this is all coming, and we have, you know, next month in April, all companies will have to do their Q1 reporting, and they have to disclose all of this stuff. So I'm expecting towards mid-end of April, you'll get a raft of announcements from companies who have made big Bitcoin or Ethereum purchases. The first company to announce that they're buying Ethereum was yesterday, which was a big Chinese listed company, and they actually bought 22 million of Ethereum, $22 million of Ethereum, and only $19 million of Bitcoin. So they're choosing to hold slightly more Ethereum on their balance sheet, which I found really interesting. So not just Bitcoin, you're going to start to get other cryptos added onto companies' balance sheets. And imagine what that's going to do to some of those. Jake, just out of interest, what's the best place to see these huge transactions coming off exchanges? Crypto quant? Yeah, I see it when somebody talks about it on Twitter, because I've sort of curated my newsfeed to get that news. I see them sharing crypto quant stuff. I see them sharing Glassnode stuff. I'm not going in and analyzing the on-chain data by myself. I use others' outputs. Okay. They are, oh no, there's more. Really happy with Chainlink, looking great. I agree. Like Ethereum, you know, Chainlink holders have had to be a bit patient over the past this year. So well done for staying strong. And it's good practice. Not all of your cryptos are going to pump at the same time. And unless your investment thesis has changed, then I definitely don't think you should be trying to chase the market around and selling one to buy the other. If you believed in Chainlink before, nothing has changed. And hopefully you'll be rewarded for that. That has started. It looked strong over the weekend when everything was a bit sideways, and it's followed through today. I believe Chainlink's currently up 7 or 8%, and everything else is flat. So amazing, love to see that. Chainlink is an incredible project. If you believe that the world is going to move on to crypto, then you have to believe in Chainlink. What are your thoughts on AVAX, which is Avalanche? I looked into it briefly, and I didn't get very far with it. So I honestly don't have many thoughts. I know it's got a great reputation. I believe it's interoperable with Ethereum, which is great news. It's a blockchain, so you have to look at how it's going to compete with Ethereum, and I believe it's Ethereum friendly. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's always a good sign. That's the reason why I am an advocate of Polkadot, as well as all the amazing development happening on Polkadot. And so from what I saw very briefly, it looked good. I have it on my watch list, but it's not currently part of my portfolio. Are you investing in NFTs too? Obviously, NFT is absolutely blowing up right now. Jack Dorsey has been offered $2.5 million for his first tweet, which has been tokenized. NBA Top Shots blowing up, all kinds of different arts, usage, NFT usage blowing up. So I see what's happening. I'm not invested in the actual underlying NFTs, as in the artwork or the song, because I think that's a whole level of specialization, which I don't have. You know, I'm not an artist. Hard for me, and the time required to really do the due diligence and pick the good investments, I don't have. But what I do like is some of the infrastructure and the exchanges, and I very much like Rarible, which is the big one. It's the one that you got likes of Gary V and Mark Cuban using to sell and invest in NFTs. And a smaller one, which I really like, is Whale. So if you want an NFT exchange, both of those have tokens that you can buy, Rarible and Whale. So go and have a look at those. But there are many. I mean, also be careful in the space, right? Because you will see all types of investments, NFT type projects that are trying to take your money. So you, like with all crypto, you have to do your due diligence. But when there's like this little bubble within the crypto bubble, then you have to be super careful, because many of these projects will go to zero. So just be ultra careful with your research. Do you hold any Doge? Why do you think Elon likes Doge so much? I think Elon is trolling. Do I believe that Elon Musk thinks Dogecoin is a future currency, global currency, internet currency? No, I don't. Look, Tesla didn't buy Dogecoin, Tesla bought Bitcoin. So watch what he does, not what he says. And yes, he is the meme god, exactly. And Doge is a meme, right? The Doge cryptocurrency started as a meme, and then somebody created a token out of it. So it's basically a big joke. That doesn't mean the price can't go up. If there are more buyers than sellers, the price goes up. But you have to be really careful in this space. Doge will most likely go to zero at some point. So if you're investing in it, then you're trying to buy it to sell it to somebody higher later on, or because it doesn't really have any fundamentals, in my opinion. Some people might agree, of course, disagree, of course, and that's fine. Yeah, Doge might be a good one to look at shorting near the top of the market, because it will probably go down 99%. So no, I don't hold any Doge. I would never recommend that either. Okay, I think they're all the questions for today. Thank you, everybody, for joining, for continuing to push me. Really enjoy it. like I said at the beginning, really, really helps me. I hope I didn't do a market update at the beginning, and I forgot, but we're kind of flat apart from Chainlink, which is a good thing. We're stabilizing around $50,000. That looks really, really good. Ethereum starting to outperform Bitcoin is really, really good. It's really, really good for Bitcoin because Ethereum leads Bitcoin in a bull market. That's what happens. Altcoins lead Bitcoin in a bull market. So to see when Bitcoin is leading Ethereum, that can indicate that we are, that usually happens when the price is going down or at certain times when the price is going up. But what you want to see is then the altcoins with Ethereum start to take over. Bitcoin will go up as well, right? So don't worry about that. So it's really good to see that happening. That's exactly what we want to see. It looks like, if you look at the Ethereum Bitcoin chart, it looks like that is what is happening. So really, really good. Why does price stabilize is the question. Well, nothing can go up forever in a straight line or down, right? So a bull market or a bear market is a constant sequence of waves, up, down, side, right? So you're going to get every single type of price movement. If you look at a Bitcoin bull market, the vast majority of the time, like days, are going sideways. Because what happens, you go sideways for a while and then you get 2 days of huge gains. You've seen that already if you're following the market. That's what happens. And the same on the downside. We go sideways for a bit and then we'll drop really quickly for a few days and then stabilize, right? That's how the market works. We're finding our footing. The market is deciding where it wants to go next. If it wants to go up next or down next. My bias is to the upside. It looks very bullish. Of course, we have to watch for the downside as well. If we do go to the downside, I think we're going to 38, 39,000. It's looking less and less likely, but don't rule it out. It's looking like we are building strength, building energy, heading up for our next crack at the all-time high, 58,000. When we take that out, then we're looking towards 80, 90,000. When the price is stabilizing, that's really, really healthy. Exactly what you want to see. And although it's exciting, you honestly don't want to see the price go up in a straight line. The price is going to go up in a straight line at the end, right? So we don't want that yet. We want that in September as planned. And we haven't had that yet. Even with the big moves that we've had, we haven't had the price go vertical. It's threatened a few times and then backed off. And that's exactly what you want to see. Backs off, consolidates. We find new buyers. All the sellers get shaken out. They all sell. They all give their Bitcoin to us at cheap rates or to Michael Saylor. And then we're ready for our next leg up. So this consolidation is perfect. We were actually going up a little bit too quickly, to be honest. So it's really, really good that this is what is happening right now. With news of 2.5 billion purchase, the Norwegian oil company. The Norwegian oil company is tiny, so I wouldn't worry about that too much. 58 million. There's a lot of people buying $58 million worth of Bitcoin. PayPal buying crypto firm Curve. I did see that. Yeah. Surely we are seeing gains this month. Yeah. I mean, we already have, right? I think Bitcoin's up, what is it, 15, 20% this month? So we already are. But yes, we want to take out the all-time high next and start moving upwards. And I'm expecting that to happen. I think the rest of this month into early April is very, very bullish. And then the same thing will happen as last time. Everyone will get too excited. Everyone will think that we're going straight to 100,000. and then we'll have our drop, and then everybody will panic again, rinse and repeat. But we've been training, and you know, is there a community that is better prepared for that than this one? Not many. I've seen everybody being really, really proud of everybody being so focused and calm over the last couple of weeks. So that is exactly what I wanted to see, because it's going to get way more volatile. You know, if you're flapping it going down 20%, then when we go down 40% and it lasts 5 to 6 weeks like it did in the last cycle, that's going to be a real war of attrition. So everything that's happening now is training for that. And you know, I'm really pleased with my progress and the progress that I'm seeing from everybody else. So well done. Okay, that's it. Time to sign off. Thank you everybody for joining. Have a beautiful evening, and I'll talk to you next week.